A century before the doom of Valyria, the Targaryens moved to the island of Dragonstone with their vassals the Celtigars and the Valyrians. After the doom, the only dragon lords left were the Targaryens. Aegon bonded with Balerion, the Black Dread. He visited Old Town and other cities in his youth. He married Visenya because it was his duty, but Rhaenys because of his desire. When he began his invasion, he landed on the hill atop Blackwater Bay, later named Aegon's Hill, and the land be named King's Landing. He built a small camp known as Aegon's Fort, which was teared down after the conquest and became the Red Keep. He sent ravens to the lords of Westeros demanding them to bend the knee. Aegon's forces made war upon Harren the Black, aided by a popular uprising against the Ironborn, led by House Tully. Aegon eventually bottled Harren up in his massive castle of Harrenhal. Harren refused to surrender, considering his castle impenetrable. Aegon had his dragon, Balerion, burn the castle with such ferocity that the towers melted like candles, roasting Harren and the other remaining members of House Hoare alive. Afterwards, Aegon raised the Tullys to become the Lords Paramount of the Trident and commanded the Ironborn to elect a new ruling house. They chose House Greyjoy of Pike, who swore fealty to Aegon and became the rulers of the Iron Islands. At the same time, Aegon's bastard half-brother, Orys Baratheon, led an army against Argilac the Arrogant. Argilac chose to give battle in the field and was defeated and killed, eliminating House Durrandon. Orys took his castle of Storm's End, his sigil and words, and Argilac's daughter Argella to wife. Aegon rewarded him by naming him Lord of Storm's End and allowing him to found House Baratheon. The forces of House Lannister and House Gardner combined and marched to meet Aegon's army in battle. At a field in the Reach that became known as the Field of Fire, Aegon unleashed all three dragons and decimated the enemy host within minutes. House Gardner was destroyed. Their stewards, the Tyrells, surrendered the Reach to Aegon and were named Lords, Paramount of the Reach. The Lannisters also bent the knee and became Wardens of the West. House Stark mobilized for war, but upon a demonstration of Aegon's superior forces, King Torrhen Stark bent the knee to save his army from certain destruction. For his submission, Aegon named him Warden of the North. The Starks thus emerged from the war without actually fighting. Upon the defeat of the Lannisters and the Gardners, House Arryn mobilized their army in anticipation of an invasion of the Vale of Arryn. However, upon seeing a dragon, boy King Ronald Arryn surrendered peacefully in exchange for a ride. The Arryns were the last great house to surrender in Aegon's conquest. The High Septon declared that the Faith of the Seven would also support Aegon, ending much of the last resistance to the invaders. Rhaenys led an army into Dorne, only to find the holdfasts empty and the armies of Dorne scattered into small bands that constantly harassed her supply lines. Frustrated, she flew to Sunspear to confront Princess Myrria Martell, the so-called Yellow Toad of Dorne. Myrria, 80 years old, blind and almost bald, defied Rhaenys to her face, telling her that Dorne would never surrender. Fearing that the cost of taking Dorne would be ruinous, Aegon agreed to allow it to remain independent. Aegon triumphantly entered Old Town and was proclaimed King of Westeros, ending the conquest after 2 years.